right, everyone, welcome to the first episode of Brothers and Boss Battles DLC. This is an offshoot of our main podcast, Brothers and Boss Battles, a video game showdown. In these DLC episodes, we'll talk about new game releases and give a quick spoiler-free review regarding the game. I'm Anthony, and today Pete will be joining me to discuss MLB The Show 24, developed by San Diego Studios and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment and MLB Advanced Media, released earlier this week on March 19th. So Pete, what'd you think? Have you played this? What'd you play it on? And what do you think so far?
Yeah, so just to introduce to the audience, you and I are huge baseball fans and we're MLB The Show veterans. Tom is not so much, so that's why he's sitting this one out. So yeah, I played it. I this year I didn't get the early access, which I had done the previous 2 years. That's kind of the way my schedule, my personal schedule worked out. So I just started playing on Tuesday. We're now recording this Wednesday night. So I've played probably maybe 5 or 6 hours in total.
Mhm.
Um,
What modes have you played?
because I didn't have the early access, any of those, deluxe editions, my Diamond Dynasty team was quite bare and not very strong.
And for those that might not know, the Diamond Dynasty team, that mode is the team. It's sort of like a open draft kind of a thing. In, in a way, you get cards as you complete tasks and win games and things like that and gain experience. And then you get better and better players as you go on, and that's what you use to compete online against people. And there are other things you use your Diamond Dynasty team for, but that's probably the primary one.
Yeah, exactly. The way I see it is those other things that you use the Diamond Dynasty team for is just kind of to gain rewards and experience to improve your team
Right.
for when you're competing online. So anyway, so because my team was so weak, I didn't jump into the online ranked play right away. So I did a couple of the conquest maps, which is a little bit of like a kind of like a strategy board game type thing. And
What do
then
you do in those though? I'm not too familiar with the conquest stuff.
I mean, it's turn based, so you have these your bases they call strongholds, and
Mm.
then every turn you could attack another team's base, steal fans by, and basically you do this by playing games against them and winning.
Oh,
But it's kind of like, and then after every turn you gain more fans,
hmm.
quote unquote, based on how many tiles you possess already. So the more tiles you possess, the more fans you get each turn. So it kind of cascades, if you
Yeah, yeah.
but um and then based on how many fans you have over the opponent, maybe if you have double the fans, you could play on easier difficulties.
Right.
Um so it makes it easier. And then you get rewards for that. You get experience towards the programs. And the programs are you know, other kind of ways to get certain rewards and certain player cards.
Right. And the two programs available at the onset are the Derek Jeter one is one,
Hmm.
right? Oh, those are storylines.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a program with Jeter or not.
Yeah. There's yeah. So but the
So you
storylines
mentioned the
are
storylines. Let's
yeah.
let's get into
th-
that because
Yeah, the storylines are cool. They're kind of almost like theatrical, cut between you playing a segment of a game and theatrical sort of information about past plays and history of the game and stuff. So at the onset of the release of the game, there were two storylines. There was the Derek Jeter one, which is kind of cool because it went through, his career and iconic moments in his career and the Yankees run in the late '90s uh, of World Series wins, and it had like this New York City subway motif to it, so that was pretty cool. And then the other set of storylines was from members of the Negro Leagues and some of their backstories. This was the second year in a row that they included that, and they included some different players this year, so that was pretty cool to to play some of those storylines as well.
Yeah, I was impressed with it. So I did almost all of the Derek Jeter one so far. And the reason why I did that was just because you could get Andy Pettitte, Greg Maddux, like representable pitcher cards, which I needed
Right.
for
Yeah.
my team. But it was really cool. So I'm definitely interested in going back and doing the Negro League stories. Even if at the time when I do it, I maybe don't need those cards,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
It's
and
pretty interesting though.
yeah, they did that what 2 years ago. Kind of
I think it was last year.
was it last year? Yeah,
Yeah, they had different
I didn't.
players.
Yeah,
They have less players this year. I think you could only get five. Uh,
yeah, that sounds about
as a
right.
last year there was definitely more, but they highlighted different people, including Hank Aaron, who did actually start, played a couple of months for a one of the Negro League teams before joining the Braves. So that was
Yeah,
cool too.
yeah, that's cool you mentioned that because one of the things I really like about the show in general is you kind of learn about the past generations of players.
Mhm.
And these stories, these storylines, it just kind of adds to that.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
as much as you know, we're not Yankee fans, but it was cool to see those late '90 like clips from games. Just because it was,
yeah,
that was like
definitely, yeah, yeah,
the the pinnacle, I feel, of watching baseball for at least me. I mean, I still enjoy it, but that was really like I was really
yeah. When
into
we
it
were
then.
younger, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
anyway,
And then
about
on
the
the
game, yeah,
yeah, no, just what. And then on the flip side, I also just like how they really emphasize the prospects. The new era
yeah,
of players coming up, and that
yeah,
it's really a great way to learn about the different prospects on different teams.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and then this year in particular, because Major League Baseball did this uh, spring showcase game. So each team in spring training had basically a team made up of all their top prospects. Um, so they have like a program for that now in MLB The Show.
yeah. That's cool. Yeah, they kind of piggyback off what happens in real Major League Baseball for their, card packs that they offer, or modes that they have, or storylines or programs and all of that. So that's pretty cool way to bolster your team with, a whole variety of different players.
Yeah, and even if a player has like a great week or a great performance in real life, then his player card will be supercharged for
Yeah.
maybe 5 days or whatever it is.
Yeah. So that's
Basically
really
making
cool.
his boosting his stats a ton.
Yeah. So I've mostly only played those storylines so far just because the game just came out yesterday and with work and everything. But I just ran through the tutorial. There's different, we won't get into them all, but there's different ways to hit, there's different ways to pitch, there's different ways to run the bases. I personally like the meter pitching and the zone hitting, and really using the analog stick less for the running and using more of the buttons. But that those are just, the settings I prefer.
Yeah, the pitching and hitting things, I do the same. The running, I use the analog stick basically to point to the base
Yeah,
runner,
yeah,
and
and
then you
then you
press the
pick the
button to run.
base. Yeah,
Yeah,
the buttons representing the bases because it's a
yeah, that's
diamond.
what I do as well.
Yeah,
Um, Maybe that's
but
not the most competitive settings, but
I mean, my favorite mode in this is the Diamond Dynasty. I can hold my own online. I'm not one of these. Sometimes you play people and just think they're an actual major league player with the reflexes they have
yeah,
to a. So I don't beat those people, but I definitely can hold my own, and it's fun. It's like exhilarating beating people online. So,
oh, no, that's likewise that's my favorite game mode, and it's really like I don't know, you get like sweaty and nervous and anxious. It's like
well, why don't you? I think you played a Diamond Dynasty game today. Why don't you tell
Yeah, yeah.
people
So the
about that?
last thing I did was I played actually two games. I'm 2-0, happy
Ah,
to say. But the first game, I was down by 2 runs going into the ninth, and then with 2 outs, I scored 1 run. So I was down 1 run with 2 outs, and then I hit a 3-run home run to
nice.
walk it off. I I felt a little bad for my opponent. That's because like it was it was a good game, good competitive.
Yeah.
Then the next game I played, I won a little more handedly, but this might be a good opportunity to just talk about my experience in those two games now, and comparing it to past versions of the game.
Yeah, I was gonna get into since you have experience with this one, why don't you tell us what you think about that?
Yeah, so it's not an apples to apples comparison, I don't think, just because we don't have a team of 98s and 99s,
Right.
players, but there was a lot more offense
Oh,
just based on the two games I played, and
I
it
mean
wasn't just all home run based.
that's good to hear because it is very hard to score runs. It's very pitching
Yeah,
dominant. I feel the Diamond Dynasty mode, so it'd be
and
nice if they lightened up a little on that to give a little bit more offense.
yeah, but with that being said, the starters, for both games for both teams were probably 85, 87, and then
Y-
some of the relievers we were bringing out were in the high 70s.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Now
It's
the batters are also kind of 85 to high
right.
80s
Yeah.
also. But one thing I did notice in terms of fielding, so they were touting, the developers, like different animations around the walls, I think, or like
Oh,
really like stopping on a dime, and I didn't notice any of that. But on a couple instances, one in my favor and one against me, I noticed, like, to try to throw someone out at second or third, like to get an outfield assist, the tag was like almost instant. Like
oh
the
wow.
infielder caught the ball and then tag, and like so both of us were out in those two
Mm,
scenarios where I didn't think we were gonna be out.
wow. That's interesting. Maybe they made that a little quicker in this game. I don't know if you caught just back to the storylines for a second, but some of them where you had to do a fielding thing and like
Yeah,
you had to press this combo of buttons to throw the ball accurately. I thought that was so weird and like I messed it up a few times early on, but then I
yeah.
got
Actually, I
it.
had more trouble with just catching the ball. Yeah, I guess you had to
Yeah, you have
time it
to
like the
right.
circle goes in. Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here? It's like thank God you don't have to feel like that in the
yeah.
regular games.
I mean, that was a fun little thing, but like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
probably never gonna do that ever again. So
Yeah. Um But then as far as the other modes, it has kind of all the standard modes. It has Road to the Show where you make a rookie and then you try to get called up to the major leagues. You hit and or bat, you hit and or pitch based on what position you're choosing, to try to make your way to the major leagues, get signed by a team. So I've done that in the past. I haven't started in this uh rendition of the game, and that's always been fun. Um, there's your home run derby. There's another
and
mode where
there's the mini seasons where
right. Yeah, it's kind of like not major league teams, but
right.
you sort of draft players within that segment of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And it's obviously just shorter schedule. I think it's 3 inning games, and
Yeah,
there's not 30 teams.
right. And then there's a mode where you're like you essentially general manage your team.
Yeah, and you also play the games, right? The key games or whatever. March to October.
March to October. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and that one's pretty fun
yeah.
as well.
So
I've done that in
all
the
these,
past, but
yeah, I've done it in the past too.
they're all pretty consistent to the MLB The Show brand now.
Yeah. So like we were saying before, both of our favorite mode is basically Diamond Dynasty when you're playing against other real life people.
Yeah.
Um, and I personally see all the other modes basically as a way to grind to get your experience and to get better player cards.
Yeah, and I think I was reading something that none of the trophies are Diamond Dynasty based. Like where you had like in the past they've had where you've had to get a certain ranking or whatever. And I think they got rid of it this time.
Oh, okay. But
Yeah.
the feats in the game, like hit a walk-off home run or whatever it might be,
You can
that
do
would still
whatever.
count. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But there's no, at least as far as I read, no specific trophy to Diamond Dynasty. Playing online.
Yeah. So I think my favorite change from last year to this year pertains to Diamond Dynasty. And last year they introduced like these sets and these seasons, and then right, you could only use
Oh yes.
one card in season one, and whatever it is.
Well, like,
So
yeah, like, once it got to season 2, you couldn't use season 1 cards. You could
right,
use, like, 1 as a wild card.
Right. So they still have the seasons now, but they're longer.
Yeah,
The seasons
that's good.
last longer, and there's no more set. So what that's going to do is basically make the pace a little slower. You're going to gradually improve your team
Yeah, which is
as
good. I
opposed.
think, yeah, a couple of seasons ago, I feel like you were able to get level 99 cards very quickly. And they improved on that
That
a
was
little
last
bit.
year.
I think in years past it was even quicker. And then like I feel like last year it improved a little bit, but it sounds like this year it might be, you know. I mean, we say improve. I mean, I personally feel that's improvement, but I guess other
Yeah,
people
me
might just
too.
want to get their 99
Yeah,
cards and
right.
battle it
Right.
out. But um yeah, so Pete, why don't you tell people your team name?
Oh, my team name in Diamond Dynasty. That's right. You create your own team, right, with your own uniform colors. You can make your own logo. So I probably spent an hour doing that, making my logo. But anyway, my team name is Bros Boss Battles, which
Just
may
like our
be
Instagram and X handles. Yeah, so if anyone out there is that's listening plays the show, you should I don't know, try to friend Rose boss battles, and maybe you could have a friendly match.
that's right. Or if anyone just randomly gets matched up against me,
Now you know
remember
who
I'm
it
two.
is.
Remember I'm 2-0.
With your ranked 75 team.
Yeah,
All right.
and just
Yeah.
one other thing, real quick.
Yeah.
I've read, and again, based on the you know ranked 86 pitchers that I've been facing, it appears that the sinker has been nerfed, which is great news.
Yeah, the sinker was pretty
It's just like less sharp and
tough. Yeah. That's good to hear. And that
yeah,
might go to what you were saying about the hitting be a little potentially being a little bit more prominent in this game. You
yeah,
lessen the quality of the pitcher pitches a little bit,
yeah,
then
exactly.
you'll be able to hit better. So
Yeah,
so that's cool to hear. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played much of it, but I definitely recommend if you like baseball simulation games, this is the premier one. Go out and get it.
yeah. Same. Like I said, we're MLB The Show veterans. We get it every year, even though the changes from year to year aren't that significant. But just playing with the new additions based on the new season, with the new live player rankings and everything, it's worth it to invest every year.
Yeah, yeah. I ha- don't buy a lot of games like day they come out as much anymore, but this one I always kind of try to do. And I actually had gotten a gift card for my birthday, and that covered it, so that was even more of a bonus. All right, so thanks for checking out the first DLC episodes of Brothers and Boss Battles. Pete and Ann signing off, and go play MLB The Show 24. Catch us on our regular episodes of Brothers and Boss Battles, Video Game Showdown. We have another episode coming out fairly soon, our first Bro Down episode, where three games will compete against each other. That's in our 3D platformer category: Conker's Bad Fur Day, Banjo-Kazooie, and Donkey Kong 64. So be sure to check that out. The website is brothersandbossbattles.com, and again, our Instagram and X handles are Bros Boss Battles. That's BROS Boss Battles. Check out the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. All right, take care.